What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name's Craig. We're going to be getting into the charts. We're going to take a look at the traditional markets, and then we're going to take a look at XRP and Bitcoin and see where I think they might be headed. I know most of you guys that have been around and watched my channel know that I did not think we were going to get to these highs. I'm going to show you where I think we could go in the very bullish case, and then of course I'm going to show you where I think we can go on the bearish case. We're going to take a look at all time frames for XRP. We'll take a look at the smaller time frames and larger time frames, and then again for Bitcoin. There is so much going on in these markets within politics and all that. But let me know down below what your opinion is. Do you think we are really near the top of all markets, or do you think we have further to run? I know there's people out there that think both ways. One thing I do want to point out is that I had someone I know yesterday call me and say, did you hear about this? Well, first of all, let's start out like this. They called me and said, I'm on crypto.com. I'm trying to buy this brand new crypto. Have you heard about it? XRP. It's going to go to the moon. And they're talking about, I could make millions of dollars. And guys, if you are familiar with any terms, and I forget who said it, it might have been, I think it was one of the Kennedys had said it way back when 1929, where it was saying when the shoe shine boy gives stock advice or something along them lines, it's time to get out. That means just the rave. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's out there. The hype got pushed really hard. And I can remember many a times in the cycles when this happened with other coins. If they get their community pumped up enough to spread the word enough, they get one huge push up before, smart money dumps. But anyways, all that aside, let's get into the markets. Let's see what's going on. Give me your guys' opinion. But before we begin, make sure you take 1 second out, hit that thumbs up button down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you tick that notification bell. It does get you notified when I post new videos. People have been telling me their notifications are off. So if you're watching this video and you are subscribed, make sure your notifications are on. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys, as we know, yesterday the markets pumped pretty high, so we're going to take a look at DXY. DXY still seems bullish. As you guys know, my targets are for the medium term is around 114, 115. Obviously, I have much higher targets than that. We'll talk about that if it happens, because as you guys know, I think we are very near the top of the market. I've been saying that for a while, but obviously these markets have been out of control. The good thing about it is, if you're trading these markets, you can have the macro wrong and still make a lot of money trading. That is why I enjoy and like trading so much, because it allows you financial freedom. You can, get in, get out of the markets real quick, short them, long them, whatever you got to do. Anyways, if you are interested in trading, I do have some links down below. We have Prime XBT, by far my favorite exchange. If you make a deposit, they give you a 20% deposit bonus when you use my link, and up to $7,000. So definitely check that out. It's a huge bonus. Also, you can get 25% off your trading fees. But anyways, back to the charts. Let's take a look at the 10-year yield. I do believe the Fed stepped in yesterday with the inflation numbers to kind of get the markets pumped back up, get them excited. I believe they bought some debt, and that's why we've seen this drop in the 10-year yield. Just my assumption, obviously. None of this is financial advice, but it sure looks kind of suspicious, right? Off of some crappy-ass numbers. Anyways, it is still looking bullish for the 10-year yield. I do believe this is probably just a pullback. But if we start getting back down below this 4.4% range, then possibly the markets are going to go up and make another high. We'll take a look at what that might look like. So looking at the S&P, let's go into the daily here and kind of look at what happened yesterday. So obviously, we got a little pump up. It does look like it might try to hold above this 55 EMA. And again, guys, I'm a huge fan of the EMAs, and I'll show you on the Bitcoin chart, also XRP chart why. But as of right now, still could be bullish if we can close above this 55 EMA, which is around 59.12, right? we'll see what happens here. It's looking like we could, if we do get up, obviously, for another new high, it's going to be around that 6,300 range, somewhere in there. And that's just a long-term trend line here, right? If it breaks above that, then this melt up could continue forever. But let's take a look at the NASDAQ here, and it is about 19.5, right? Let's go same thing. Let's put this in the daily. See our daily pump we had yesterday. Same thing, kind of just teetering in this range, guys. If we break up out of this range here, it could be extremely bullish for the stock market. Rolling over to cryptos also. One thing I want to talk about cryptos is like in the dot-com bubble, right? I've talked about this many times, the similarities. But in the dot-com bubble, none of them companies that the price in the market was flying up, none of them were making any profits. And a lot of that goes the same for crypto. There's a lot of crypto projects out there that literally are making no money other than what people put into it. So something to be cautious, be aware of, be careful, guys, because them big investors that was buying low can get out at any time in big amounts and put a hurting on it. But if the markets keep continuing up, that probably won't happen. And, you know, as long as the markets can keep going up, so can highly speculative assets. But when this thing does turn around, it could get ugly real fast. We're back inside this rising channel now. So if we were to test the medium of this, we would be looking at approximately 44.5 if we get back up to the midsection here. But otherwise, looking for, if we do drop down below here, which is going to be around 42.7, it'll probably be a swift downfall from there if we do fall out of this again. I do believe that most traders will lose confidence at a drop below this. Otherwise, looks like we could get another push up. This I've talked about a lot. Now, guys, we'll get into XRP next and then Bitcoin, so stick around. But this is just some stuff I want to point out. You can see the similarities. Over here on the right, we had the Great Depression. Over here on the left, we have right where we're at now. Could we be seeing something like this? It's definitely a possibility. But again, we could still go higher. Really weird crap going on right now. We could get a big pump into the inauguration, right, for the presidency. You know, the timing on this is crazy. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in here, right? This is a weekly chart, guys. We're just going to zoom in and kind of take some measurements, see what it looked like over here in the Great Depression compared to now, right? Let's take a look. And we'll... All right, so let's put our tool on here from this high to this low right here, right? Where we had this big pump up. That was about 6.8%. Now let's take a look at this one over here. I don't know why that disappeared. But this one from this, and now we're getting this pump up. But that was approximately 7%. So kind of similar. We'll see what happens. Like I said, this could continue up. And then everything is just to the moon. Everything has much higher to go. And we'll look at those targets. But otherwise, if this turns around and really starts having some big drops here, and remember, this is a weekly, so we could have a couple weeks before knowing the outcome here. If we make new all-time highs, chances are we're going to go much higher. Otherwise, if all markets topped out in December, because if you look back, December was when all these peaked, even Bitcoin. So again, be cautious here. Let's look at XRP. So this is a smaller time frame, right? The 4-hour. One thing I wanted to talk about was the EMAs. One thing you can trade on is in the EMAs is when they all cross over, which if I'd have followed my own rules right here, would have made a lot of money. But there's other rules I stick to, right? But you can see they all crossed over here. Once you start getting open and closes above the 8 EMA, which is the red one, I don't know why it's not red on this chart, but this is it here. Once it starts opening and closing above that, you go in for a long and you ride that out until they cross again, right? Which was back here. You would have got out at about 234. You would have got back in at about 220, and you would still be in, right? So this measured move off of this triangle is here. This is the 4-hour chart, guys. That's $3.47. That would be where I'd look for at least a pullback, right? And then we kind of see where it goes from there. But if we were to get just a pullback, right, that would be somewhere. I would look for it to be somewhere around this area, 250-ish, right? And then a continuation of the upside. But once we start dropping back below this area, we're probably can say all markets had probably topped by then. But again, we have to wait and see what happens, especially around the inauguration, like a couple days after or into, and see what happens. I know a lot of people are excited. I know President, or soon to be President Trump and all his staff, they're all talking about, all this good stuff for crypto and, where it's going. And could we get this huge super cycle rally? It is definitely a possibility and something to be aware of, but just be cautious and be careful. You still don't want to put everything you have into crypto, right? Especially at these levels. We're pretty high right now. Let's take a look at the daily on XRP. So on the daily, right? Let's take a look here. Right here is where you would have got back in around 58 cents when the 8, the 13, and the 21 EMA crossed the 55 EMA, and it's still far above. So again, once they all cross on the daily, that's probably a good sign that the top is in and it's heading down into a bear market. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, all these blue arrows are hype news. We talked about that in yesterday's video. But if we look at this as a rising, or if we look at this as a wedge, right? We take the widest point of the wedge to where it broke out over here, right? This gives us a macro target. Let me get these two arrows off here so you can see. So this gives you the more of a macro target if we're going to make a new high, right? This is where I would be looking for it to top out or at least get a huge major correction until you get there. You really, so that would be around 386. Would that make a new all-time high? Yes, it would. Have we already made a new all-time high? We have, right? Let me see. Yes, made a new all-time high. That was not expected for XRP, but we have to follow the charts. Hey guys, I am going to start giving both bearish and bullish cases so you guys can know where to go, what to look for, what areas to watch for breaks. But as of right now, like I said, in that 4-hour, this is where you want to watch for, that 347 area. Let's go into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, this was a chart I posted on yesterday's, let me get this off there. On my X yesterday, I said if we can get above and hold above this 107.12 area, which is this trend line here, then our target would be that 115. Same target we've been talking about as a possibility, right? For months now. Now, if we break below this, then our target over here is going to be somewhere around, let me put a label in there. It's going to be somewhere around the 71.9. Now, this is the area we've been talking about for a long time, guys. I know this looks kind of confusing, but if you've been following along, you understand. This trend line right here is so important, and right now it is around 92,000. We get back below that, and that becomes resistance, and we're looking at this lower level still. And why is that? Because I'm looking at this as if you look at the blue waves here, right? So this is if this 2-wave has topped out here, and that's a good possibility, and I'll show you why. We're going to use the fibs, put the fib retracement on that from this low, right, the bottom of 1. That hit right at the golden pocket zone, which is the 0.618, 0.65 area, right? We got a major rejection there. Came all the way down, made this new low here at about that 88.9. Now, if we move this out of the way, so right, if this is correct, and this was the top of wave 2 here, we're going to come all the way down for wave 3, but there's going to be 5 waves in that. And this was a 1-2. Looking at 1-2 for the smaller wave, right? And if that's the case, we put the fibs on here, and that gives us our wave 3, right? So right now would be a good time to be in a short if you caught that top with your stops above wave 1, because remember, wave 2 cannot retrace more than, it can actually retrace 100%, but not more than 100%. So you would want your stops at this high at 102.47, and you may be able to ride this all the way down to the end of wave 3 here, which would be about 78.9, and that's for the smaller wave. Looking at the blue wave 3, which is the bigger, more macro. Obviously, it's not macro. This is a 4-hour chart, but get it down to about 75. That's still our first target for a bounce on the bigger wave structure. But the smaller wave structure will get you a bounce about 78.7, back up to around that 85.6, and continuation down to the end of wave 3 in the bigger one, right? Now again, in this, right, you're going to get the same type structures. You're going to get a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 to get you here. I'm going to make some more detailed videos on that and actually start my membership YouTube videos again, where it's members only, maybe once or a couple times a week, and we can go over this stuff, how to measure waves, go over some Wyckoff stuff, how to identify tops, bottoms, wave structures, support and resistance, all that stuff for trading, right, that people need to understand. So this is still what I'm looking at as a possibility. Now, if this wave 2 breaks, right, so say you got a short here, riding it out, make sure you move your stops down, every time it breaks a resistance. So say it makes its wave 1, 2 here, and then it starts the 3 within this 3. Start moving your stops down to heavy resistance areas, right? Yeah. If this breaks, then we have this count here, because this is always a possibility too, that this is a wave 1 or wave 2 is still forming, and that gets you up. Remember, if this breaks here, right, this was where I would get back in the short, because I do still believe we are continuing down this way, guys. But again, really depends on traditional markets. But that would still get you around the same area for the final here. Now, I told you we'd take a look at bullish charts also, which we're going to hear in a second. This was the head and shoulders. Remember, I said it could still be valid as long as we didn't break this high, which we haven't, that 102 area, right? There's a lot riding on that 102-ish area. Yes, definitely could still be a head and shoulders here with the target of around that 74. But like I said, if we're playing the Elliott wave structures out, I think we can go much lower. Let's take a look at the other thing I want to show you on this chart is our weekly, right? Our SAR has turned bearish on the weekly. We've got 2 dots now in the weekly. Of course, if we make a new high, that'll get erased, and then we start getting bullish again. But as of right now, on the weekly, we are still bearish. And not just the SAR, but also we got this bearish divergence right here. We got higher high or lower highs in the RSI, higher highs in the price action with the SAR bearish or SAR bearish. It could definitely continue down from here, guys. So same thing we had over here. Lower high in the RSI, higher high in the price action. That signaled a major top. Same thing we could be looking at here. So just another reason to be cautious. Be careful. A lot of times when you're at the top of the market, you're going to get a lot of great news, but it's nothing more than exit liquidity getting in the market, right? Same thing here in the monthly. Lower high, right? Lower high, lower high. Higher high in the price action, bearish divergence. Even in the smaller part in the monthly here, we have this lower high. You look at it up here, you got a higher high. We also had this gravestone doji right here, which is a good top signal on the monthly. Let's take a look at the 2 month. Do I have a 2 month on here? I have the 3 month. Let's take a look at that. So 3 months, we still have 2 months to go. We'll see how this candle closes. But same thing here, guys. Look at that divergence. It's huge. Let's take a look at 6 months and see if you see anything. Now, this would be super macro, but I still just want to take a look. Same thing, right? You got a lower high here. Let me get that off there. You got a lower high here, higher high here. Everything in the macro looks signaling a massive move down. But again, that doesn't mean it can't go higher first. We can still get another push up before that all happens. What would it look like if we are still bullish here and the markets still continue up? Well, that would be this count here, in my opinion. We are still making wave 3. We are in wave 5 of 3, which will also have 5 waves in it. And that target would get us to around 127.7, which would be the 1.618, right? Looking at this as a wave 1, 2. And then our retracement would get us down to 84, 80, or 85-ish. And then coming up towards the end of the year, around 157 to 160, somewhere in that range. If that's what we're looking at, right? Which is possible. That's a bullish case. In your bearish case, we've topped already, and we're looking for a big correction. And I still believe, guys, so this is why a lot of people got mad and think I'm wrong, because I was calling for 35 to 9,700, which I still think is where our low is going to end up. I really think that's still going to happen. I know a lot of people think that's impossible, but be careful, guys, because markets usually go exactly where people think, just not when they think it, right? Markets can be confusing. Timing is the hardest part of any market. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the thumbs up. We're going to be digging in a lot deeper, and I'm going to be starting my membership videos back up on YouTube. I think there's still a membership link down below. Get set up, and I will get you notified when I post new videos. But again, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, smash the likes. Leave your comments. Are we going to get another push up? Is this just going to be a bull market for years to come, or has it topped out? What do you think? Let me know, guys. I'm out, and I'll catch you.